Welcome to Speaking Cinema, serious movie Jibber Jabber, a movie podcast coming to you from a house on Haunted Hill in Hollywood, planet Earth, California, America, Milky Way galaxy. This is season 3, serious spooky Jibber Jabber, and we are talking horror. If you're new to our show, we pick a movie, talk about what we know about it, how we feel about it, its relevant metadata, genre, director, etc. Then we watch it, and then talk about it again. Contextual review, people. That's what we do.
Get that metadata.
Yeah, we gotta
Get it.
Get the metadata, then we have a discussion of some sort of substance. That's the plan. Another plan, follow us on Twitter, @SpeakingCinema. Rate, review, subscribe. Listen to us Jibber Jabber on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Speaking Cinema. Username, @SpeakingCinema. I am your host, the keeper of the house on Haunted Hill, a groundsman called Mr. Jibber Jabber. Here today with me is a malevolent entity, Kevin. Hey!
Woo! Malevolence.
Sup? But also, suddenly, a third host has materialized on the couch. Hey, Crystal.
Hey,
How's it going?
pretty good.
Crystal, new to the couch. We've had guests before, never Crystal in the past. How would you say you know us?
I am in a book club with your girlfriend.
Yeah. And how's that going?
It's great.
An all-girl book club.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of red wine, a lot of white wine, a lot of cheese. Talking about books.
Some figs, perhaps?
I have seen a fig there. I don't know how well that went over or not.
That was allegedly a fig.
Allegedly a fig. The dudes of the girlfriends of the people in the thing. We go to an arcade in Pasadena and play arcade games. So it really illustrates the difference between us and our girlfriends, where they're having a civilized discussion about books, and we are playing.
We play Final
We
Fight.
finally beat Final Fight. We finally beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time. We finally beat House of the Dead.
You realize those games are created to eat your quarters alive.
Yes.
Because they're impossible.
Yeah. Neon Arcade, shout out.
Do it.
So you co-host a horror podcast, Midnight Movie Madness, or do you guys? It's not Midnight Movie Madness anymore. It's Midnight Society.
Midnight Society, but the section of the podcast that reviews horror movies is called Midnight Movie Madness.
Midnight Movie Madness, which
But-
you can find on YouTube.
Yes, YouTube and Facebook. Just look up the Midnight Society and you'll find it.
Okay, I will add that to our Speaking Cinema Facebook
And
page.
it won't take us to
Synergy.
To an Are You Afraid of the Dark fan page, just to make sure.
That's a great name, by the way. Midnight Society.
Yeah, that was the Are You Afraid of the Dark
I
kids.
know. And it
Wasn't
shows-
sure.
I will admit that in my early days of getting into horror movies, that was like one of the first accessible horror things. And I remember there's an episode, I think, with a clown
Yep.
that scared the fuck out of me. Also an episode where someone gets trapped in a pinball game or something.
I don't remember that one.
There's a pinball
Sounds
game,
familiar.
and then like it's in a mall, and then there's just a gigantic chrome ball like flying around the
Yeah.
mall or something. And I remember that I was not. And my mom's like, "That's it, no more Afraid of the Dark."
The one I remember the most was like the red demon in the pool. Does anyone remember that one?
Oh man.
That sounds
It was
cool,
like
though.
It was the high school pool, and there was like this
Oh.
really freaky.
Yeah, we like look up at them through the
Yeah.
water. Yeah.
That's the one I remember
Yeah.
really vivid.
I also remember like they would throw like some whatever on the fire and it would flare up.
Yep.
And that effect, which is something flammable, some flammable powder. I think it was actually flour, maybe.
Yeah.
But then I remember that was just like the coolest shit ever, and still is. So Crystal, to introduce you to our audience, is it safe to say that you are a horror enthusiast?
Absolutely. It is my favorite genre of film. Period.
Yeah. We've been trying to get you on for a minute, and then I was like, no, we gotta wait for the Halloween thing. Here we are. Is there anything that you like about it in particular?
I mean, it's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been attracted to the macabre. I think it all started with Alien.
Yeah.
I just searched for lots of people.
Yeah,
You?
Oh yeah, that was one of the early ones for me.
totally. I was way too young to see it.
How young?
Well, yeah.
Young enough to have nightmares about that cat screaming at her
Oh yeah,
her
yeah.
pregnant belly,
yeah.
and I'm like, this is gonna give me nightmares. And then I just became obsessed with that kind of like the darkness. And my mom is very, she has no idea why I like this stuff. And I'm like, Mom, you did this.
She's like a parent who's like, why don't you wear this nice purple shirt? Why you gotta wear black?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
you don't understand me, Mom. Ah!
It's like, you did this.
Only the cramps understand me, man.
Yeah.
Big Cramps fan?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I love the Cramps. One of the best bands ever.
Yeah.
Do you know they played at a mental hospital once?
To who? To the patients?
The mental patients.
Really?
It's like one of the best concerts ever recorded.
Really?
Amazing.
Were the patients into it or what?
Oh yeah, they were digging it.
Nice.
Yeah, live at Rusk. Check it out.
Wow. You may not believe in ghosts, but you cannot deny terror. This time on the Jibber Jabber, scream! No one will hear you. Run! And the silent footsteps will follow. For in Hill House, the dead are restless. 1963's The Haunting.
Those 60s taglines, they kind of rambled a little bit.
They do, and I, just like all the Gallo titles, I fucking love it.
They're great.
Bro, I just fucking love it. The Haunting was directed by Robert Weiss, written by Neil Gideon, based on The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. If you're not familiar, a scientist doing research on the paranormal invites two women to a haunted mansion. One of the participants soon starts losing her mind. Also, I feel like the last 5 episodes we've done, the short synopsis is kind of spoilery.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? And then I still read them anyways. So what's wrong with me?
Are you saying you're the problem? Right
I mean, I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. That was from IMDb, by the way. Credit where credit's due. But
little spoilers.
little spoilers.
Little spoilers.
A bit of a background. The Haunting of Hill House is a 1959 novel. Stephen King called it one of the best horror novels of the 20th centuries. Critically, it is held as one of the best ghost stories ever. Have any of you read that book?
I have not.
Have not.
I have. More on that later. The book has been adapted 2 times as a movie, once in 1963, the version that we're going to do, and once in 1999. 1963 is said to be faithful to the source material and it has a critical approval. The 1999 one is overtly fantasy horror and is critically panned. Spielberg and Stephen King tried to adapt it. Eventually that work was turned into Rose Red. At one point, Wes Craven was trying to adapt it, but that fell through, and then his next project was Scream. Could have had Wes Craven's The Haunting, a meta haunted house movie.
Could have had it.
Assuming it was meta, it was right after New Nightmare, so I'm assuming he was in that mindset of examining the genre.
Yeah.
But we'll never know. R.I.P. Robert Weiss was in post-production on The West Side Story when he read a review of Shirley Jackson's novel. He read it and found it very frightening, teamed with his friend Nelson to do the adaptation. They met with Shirley Jackson as they set out to do this. They liked her concept, but they didn't like the title, and they asked her, do you have any other titles? And she said, the only other thing I ever thought of calling it was just The Haunting, which is that's perfect. They immediately adopted that and set off to get the movie sold. Went to went to United Artists first. United Artists did not want it, so they took it to MGM. MGM was like, we'll give you $1 million, which was a problem because they wanted more money. A story we find a lot in Hollywood. Everyone wants more money.
It's a little another slice of the pie.
I want more money too, so I can relate. So, to save money, they went to England seeking tax breaks and subsidiaries. England.
I didn't know they had tax breaks.
I guess at the time.
At the time, makes sense.
Yeah. You know, I feel like every country kind of goes through that, right? Like, right now, Canada's doing that, and the south part of the U.S. is giving people tax breaks, you know what I mean? And then, sometimes you hear stories about how people, we gotta make these for cheap, so we're gonna go to, South Africa for some random movie, or, England, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Iceland.
Yeah. And I think some of these countries they have, an allotted budget for, foreign productions.
Definitely do.
Said to be Martin Scorsese's favorite horror movie. Steven Spielberg thought The Haunting to be a seminal movie from his childhood. As of this recording, you can find this movie on your local internet DHG rental site, iTunes, Amazon. Maybe it's on Crackle. I haven't checked.
Neither has anybody.
Let's go. Crackle. If you want to buy a disc, you go buy a disc.
That's what I do.
If you're down for it, it's probably on a VHS if you're at a garage sale.
Amoeba Records, they'll have it on VHS.
You think so?
Somewhere. Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll
They have a sizable VHS section.
Maybe we'll test that theory in approximately 5 hours.
Let's do it.
So, have you guys heard of this movie, and have you guys seen this movie? Start with Kev.
Heard of it, have not seen it.
Crystal?
I have heard of it. I have not seen this one, but I saw the 1999 version.
And you saw the 1999
I
version
did
too.
also see the 99.
So you guys have seen the Bobo version of this.
The Owen Wilson, Liam Neeson vehicle.
And a lot of talent in that movie, though.
There was, but it just did not turn out very
Also,
well.
the idea of Liam Neeson doing a horror movie in 2015 is just like unbelievable. Because who's he gonna beat up?
Yeah, he's got to just punch the ghost.
Yeah, like I would watch that movie.
He
though.
punched the whole house, and the house would just give up.
I have not seen either version of this movie. I have read the book when I was in college. I was trying to read some horror movie books. Read Hell House, which I did not like, and I read Hill House, which I did like, but I don't remember anything specifically from it. So we'll see how this pays out. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Do you guys like haunted house movies?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Like them a lot. You can do a unique atmosphere, and it's kind of wide open to all the things you can do with it. Like what kind of ghost or whatever's plaguing the house, what can it do? It leaves a lot of options open, so it's a good genre.
So you're down for the haunted house movie?
Oh yeah.
In all of its incarnations.
Yeah.
Crystal?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite subgenres of horror films. So I'm actually kind of mad at myself that I haven't seen this already.
Well, we're correcting that problem today, so don't be
Yeah.
get happy. I like it. I think most when it's in an unconventional haunted house setting, like something like Event Horizon, which is kind of a haunted house movie in space, or like Alien, which is kind of like a haunted house movie in space. You're trapped in this because the premise of a haunted house movie is that it's one location, but it's a big location. You're stuck in it and you can't escape, right? And there's something scary going on there, generally, right? Mm-hmm. So I do like the science fiction version of that. I guess I didn't like Jason X, but
Neither did anybody.
neither did anyone. So, and I guess, right now there's contemporary horror movies are kind of going back to like a haunted house ghost story. You got The Conjuring, The Gallows, Unfriended, all ghost stories. Upcoming Crimson Peak, that's going to be a ghost story in a haunted house. So it seems to be in the early 2000s we had like The Ring and The Grudge, which are The Ring was more of a haunted like videotape, but The Grudge was like a haunted house movie. So
you're stuck in one location.
It comes and goes. You know what I mean? It's a real ebb and flow kind of a genre. You have like the Vincent Price shit, from like the 60s and the 50s, which is like, raining with the fucking lightning and thunder, and then, it kind of comes in and it goes, and a lot, like, there's a lot of like Roman Polanski, like The Apartment, like that's like a haunted house thing. So it's a genre that pops up every now and again. And I do like the idea of that genre of being in a place that's scary and haunted, you know what I mean? Like, I like that.
But then there's always the argument, just leave!
See,
just leave!
And I feel like the older you get, the more you realize, like, no way, bro. If I was at a haunted... So, you, me, and Crystal, we go fucking to a haunted ski chalet, right? And it's like 10 miles from the road, the paved road to this place. I'm not walking that fucking 10 miles. If some crazy shit goes down, maybe at the third act break, I'm like, all right, peace out, I'm done. But... yeah, if I'm at a place that's like, some miles away from civilization and something spooky happens, I'm probably not. My first inclination is not going to be just to run away. Yeah, it's a weird thing where the audience has more information than the people in the movie, so they know that they should run away, but the people in the movie don't know they should run away. You know what I'm saying?
Spend a lot of money on that house.
Yeah.
If
we spend one night here, according to my uncle's will, we'll get it. We can sell it. It's all about money. Yep. That's why I think the sci-fi version works. It's like, hey, we're on a spaceship, we can't go anywhere. Yeah. All you gotta say is, oh, the engines don't work. The gravitron drive, antimatter, and you're like, got it. We're stuck. You know what I mean? Call for help.
Yep.
When you guys were growing up, was there a haunted house around you? Like, was there like a place where you grew up that was like, this is like the haunted place?
They were called the 1,000 Stairs, and it was in...
Already I love this, but go ahead.
Well, don't get too excited. It's not that good. But it was in a graveyard, and it was supposedly, if you climb those stairs, there were ghosts up there, apparently.
So it's like a hill with...
It's like a hill with stairs on it.
Was there 1,000 stairs?
I don't know. I never counted.
Did it feel like 1,000?
It felt like 1,000 stairs. Okay. It's a lot of stairs.
Because a lot of stairs.
People have reports of climbing it and feeling some kind of presence, but you wonder just how, or are they just influenced by what they've heard, basically. But that was kind of the haunted area, really.
Where I grew up, no, because it is a resort community and there are no old buildings at all.
Where did you grow up?
In Palm Desert. So
No desert ghosts?
no desert ghosts. I mean, the scariest stuff would probably be like a Kauai Indian, tale or something. Or somebody got murdered at this like suburban apartment building, and I'm like, okay.
Someone got murdered in the hot spring.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, okay, well,
This hot spring is so haunted but relaxing.
I'm also relieved about that because I particularly hate going to hotels that are haunted. I like watching them. I don't want to be in one.
When you say watching them, like watching them on TV or like watching them from a distance?
Like in a movie.
Oh, in a movie. Okay, yeah. Fictional.
Yeah.
Fictional. Yeah.
If I'm house hunting, somebody died here, I'm gone.
No, you wouldn't live in the house that was
no.
someone died?
No.
I would live in a house where someone
I
died.
totally do it. I'd negotiate the price based on that.
Yeah. I would try to I'd be like, listen, guy, you gotta pour me the pool. I'll fill it with water.
Yeah.
But you gotta pour the cement for the pool. We'll negotiate this out.
Yeah.
It's haunted, damn it.
Do you know in New Orleans they have to do that
What?
on like for sale signs? They have to put like "not haunted" on some of the places. I've seen pictures of it. It's crazy.
I would love that if that was a check mark on like a search for Redfin.
Yeah.
Not haunted.
And
All right,
it's
great.
Not haunted.
Check.
Nice veranda.
Yeah.
Not haunted.
Growing up in the Bay Area, there were 2 haunted local locations. One was the Toys R Us off of El Camino. Toys R Us off El Camino. It used to be an orchard, and that's where the ghost comes from. Is a lady who supposedly her mother her husband left her like right before they were supposed to get married. So her fiance left her right before she got married, and she commits suicide in the orchard and now haunts the Toys R Us. I had a childhood friend whose mom worked at that Toys R Us and who said, stuff falls off of shelves and there's weird noises that no one understands and yada yada yada. I find that story to be utterly preposterous because it's Toys R Us. Kids are stacking toys in weird places, hiding toys in weird places. So it's like, there's like hidden. That was one of the stories. There's hidden toys. It's like, because mom said I can't get this Professor X-Men toy until next week, allowance reason. So I stuffed it in the back of a ball pit area and then hope for the best. You know what I mean? Hope she wasn't lying to me, Mom. So that was the first haunted place. The second haunted place was the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
That was the local, haunted house of lore.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I haven't. I want to go.
It was fun, and as a kid, you totally bought the fucking lies that they constantly strewn there. They're like, if you get separated from the tour group, you'll die. And it's like, this house isn't like a million rooms, you know what I mean? Like, you'd probably just be seen on the next tour.
It's not a cavernous house. It's not huge.
Yeah. And you're walking.
You wouldn't get lost.
Yeah, so I remember them saying that. But there was cool stuff that we did, like a Halloween. There's like flashlight tours. They give you a flashlight. It was pretty fun.
I mean, it sounds really cool. And I don't know if you guys seen that Rose Red miniseries.
No, I'm not.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
It's like a fantasy version of that story of that crazy lady.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Not to ruin everyone's opinion of this, but I recently learned that there's an alternate theory that because of the economics were hard at the time, she just kept adding to her house to keep the people who built it employed because she didn't want them to have to go back to farming or doing whatever. So she wasn't super crazy. It was just like, I have money, so I'm gonna help these people out.
Still needed 13 of everything.
Still had 13 of it. Still had 13 of everything though, and then doors that. Also, a lot of little steps in that place.
Very short steps. Yep. Something I noticed as a tall person.
Are you guys familiar with Robert Wise?
Yeah, I am. My mom watched The Sound of Music constantly.
Oh, that's him. Sound of Music, huh?
Yeah, Sound of Music, Andromeda Strain, West Side Story. The Sand Pebbles was a movie my dad watched a lot. Steve McQueen, war movie. He seems like kind of one of those the great old Hollywood directors. Like his movies are very big and very flashy and kind of very old Hollywood. So I like some of his movies, but The Sound of Music I can't stand anymore. We had a local movie critic who passed away recently. Robert Glatzer was his name. He had a great book called Beyond Popcorn. It's a movie about kind of getting people into thinking about movies more. He had an entire chapter on why he hates The Sound of Music. So yeah. But yeah, Robert Wise. Familiar with his work.
I had not seen The Sound of Music until literally this year, and as of this recording, this year is 2015. Had not seen it. My girlfriend's like, we have to see it, watch it. I did like The Sound of Music. I can't fucking stand West Side Story. And I like musicals. I like musicals from that era. On the Town. Fucking anything with Frank Sinatra. Anything with,
Fred Astaire.
Fred Astaire and what's the other guy who dances? Gene Kelly. Oh, I didn't tell you guys. This place is also haunted.
The ghost of old Hollywood
The
musicals.
ghost of old Hollywood musicals in our Hollywood apartment. Gene Kelly, love all of that shit. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Singing in the Rain, down. Can't stand West Side Story. Can't stand it, won't watch it. Hate it. There's very few movies that I'm like, I hate them. They are Underworld and fucking West Side Story.
Dude, the Orphans could beat up the West Side Story game.
Yeah, for sure.
The Orphans are Bobo.
Pretty bobo. Robert Wise?
Yeah, I mean, Sound of Music.
All right,
That's
down.
it. I'm down.
We have a weird running joke at my office that I work at with the Sound of Music.
Which is?
In a first meeting that we had when we had a bunch of new people, so we're like, let's have a meeting, just introduce everybody. We have a lot of young people at this office, like they make me feel old, and I'm not that old. And they made this big Sound of Music reference, and he had no idea what they were talking about. And so now
How obscure was the reference?
they were singing Doe a Deer, a female deer.
Why were they? Wait. Why were they singing in a meeting?
Don't ask. I don't remember how it started.
Are you guys required to sing?
No,
Okay.
not required to. It happens sometimes.
What if we tip you?
I mean, I'll sing. I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Is it like a Johnny Rocket scenario where you put something in the tip jar, we all got to sing or something?
I can do it.
Or also at Cold Stone they do that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cold Stone, yeah, they got
which is why I've never tipped at Cold Stone because I don't want to be subjugated to that.
But somehow they brought up that, and he had no idea what the Sound of Music was or what they were talking about. And so the new running gag is every time we get somebody new and have a meeting, we ask them if they've seen the Sound of Music.
And have they?
Some people have, some people haven't. So it's a weird running joke we have at my office. So I don't approve of it. It's fine.
Yeah, your
It's
office
fine.
seems like that's an odd it's an odd pairing.
So what happens when you have a lot of young folks working at your office. So.
Is he a movie guy?
Kind of. Not really. So, I mean, he's just like, he was 14 when I graduated college.
It's kind of like I was just talking to someone and they didn't know who Motorhead was, and I'm like, Ace of Spades, and they're like, no, and I played it. I'm like, you'll know it when I play it. So I played it. I was on my phone. I played it, and they didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, but this person is like Beatles. Like they just listen to the Beatles. You know what I mean? And like whatever's on Top 40 radio. So it's like, you know.
But to not even have heard of Motorhead, not even the name Motorhead.
But the thing is, if you don't listen to rock and roll music, right? It's like, how would you know?
Yeah, but it's in like video games and TV and
Well,
commercials. And...
It is seminal. You guys are right. But
that person's in the wrong.
I mean, in some ways I kind of get it, but in some ways, yeah, I'm with you guys where it's like, you know, seminal. Come on.
Motorhead. Come on.
I'm sorry?
Motorhead fan? Moderately?
Moderately. I mean, I
Like the hits?
I like-
Love Me Like a Reptile?
I like metal.
Yeah.
But I like European metal more these days.
You're like Saxon? Like what? Like what do you like? Also,
Like Opeth.
Oh, Opeth, okay.
Kind of gothy metal.
Or Nightwish, because I like pretending like I'm slaying dragons while I...
Listen, I like
out.
Amon Amarth is like my favorite band. And every
Nice.
song is about Viking shit and
Makes you want to put on
Odin.
white cloth and...
They're
Dude,
huge
when you-
nerds. I love it.
If you hate doing like elliptical machine, just turn on some of that shit and you just like every song is about how you're gonna die one day, and I don't know why but it's a good motivator for cardio. I don't know why.
Hey, whatever gets you on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Speaking of treadmills, are you guys Shirley Jackson fans?
Speaking
feel
of
like-
treadmills.
We have great transitions on this show.
In that we have
We'll get
absolutely terrible transitions, and this one will be no different.
to that. I feel like I've heard her name, but I can't picture who the hell she is. Who is Shirley Jackson?
She's a horror writer from like the mid-century,
Okay, yeah.
and
I have no idea.
a lot of seminal works. We used to live in a castle, I think is one of hers, and this movie, etc., etc.
Yeah, have not read anything and not influenced by her. So.
Not familiar.
Like I said, I read this.
But I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, willing to learn. I read Hill House, and I also read Hell House, and I get them confused often. And I'm not a super fan of her. It's kind of back when horror was like a mix of like gothic horror and modern stuff, you know, because like this is like a kind of a gothic horror in the modern era. And so it's not like that 70s mean-spirited horror that I think we all really like, you know what I mean? Like Last House on the Left, kind of like,
Yep.
you know, brutal. I think there's a
Real dark.
It lacks
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah. It lacks a darkness that I think that to us is very normal, and at that time was kind of like maybe
Would have been a little too much.
would have been too much. You know what I mean?
She should write a book in the front of a submarine. Call it Whole House. because it's a hole.
Yeah, I'm pausing. The listener at home is laughing, so I'm pausing, so I'm not speaking over them.
Hold for applause.
It's a whole house.
There is a book called Hull House, which is about a tenement in Chicago that took care of children during the Great Depression or something like that. I had to read that for school.
Not about being in the front of a submarine. Huh?
Mm-hmm. So this is the time of the podcast where we play rapid fire. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to say before we get into the games that we play, and then watching the movie, and then coming back. Anyone?
Play some games.
Play some games. Rapid fire. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
That's a tough question. I used to. I think there's unexplained phenomenon.
Okay, we're gonna stop this game down. We're gonna stop this game down. Elaborate.
Well, before I mean, growing up religious, sort of believed in
As
them.
we all did, except for Kevin.
Just raving atheists at my house.
Parents are both atheists.
No, they're not. So they were Presbyterian, so which means that we just didn't go to church.
Good for you.
I was not raised religious. So.
I was raised Catholic, as I've stated on this podcast before. I went to Catholic school for 10 years, from preschool to the end of high school. My first public school was college. Go ahead. So you were raised?
I was raised Seventh-day Adventist.
That sounds pretty hardcore.
I mean, it's not really.
Okay.
It's like a choose your own. It's like
adventure story. Some R.L. Stein shit.
Yeah, it's like all of. I mean, I don't want to get controversial here, but it's like most religions where they're like, what sect do you believe in? Like, which flavor are you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We just kind of picked what we liked. It seemed.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is we worship on Sabbath.
Which was Saturday.
On Saturday. So
ruining those Saturdays.
The Saturdays, but we had our Sundays. I mean, it was so because I was raised like that. I always thought, yeah, ghosts are real, no problem. Now I feel like maybe it's more of an like a interstellar explanation. I don't know yet.
So you do believe that there's like a unexplainable phenomenon going on in haunted places?
Yes, it
Okay.
could be an energy.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a fourth dimension being reaching out to shake our hands. It could be Matthew McConaughey. I don't know.
Pushing books.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know.
Spoilers for Interstellar, but also you don't need to watch it.
Yeah,
We'll have to get into that later.
We'll bring you back for the Interstellar episode. I mean, it'll be a fist fight.
But yeah, I believe that there's a thing. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so and with all due respect, because it's America, you can have beliefs what you want. Just because we disagree doesn't mean blah 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 blah. Totally don't believe in ghosts. Just old pipes and creaky wood. No such thing as ghosts. There's nothing to believe in, anyone. There's nothing to believe in. Santa Claus, not true. Justice doesn't exist.
oh man.
Ghosts, I've never seen one.
Just let me keep Bigfoot, and I'll be happy.
Bigfoot's
out there.
I don't want to be rude, but Bigfoot is extinct.
Hide and seek champion. That's what I think he is.
Back to the game. Orphan Black or Black Mirror?
Black Mirror.
Both.
Oh, interesting.
Only because I have not watched Orphan.
We're going to have to talk about Orphan Black. We're going to have to talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to also say Black Mirror, which I highly love.
That is a cool show. Netflix just picking it up for season 3.
Fuck yes.
Awesome.
Great.
Terror or horror?
I like terror. It's kind of
The face Crystal. I wish people could see the face Crystal's making right now.
It's a tough question. Do I want to feel terror or do I want to watch terror? Is that the question?
It's
Feels?
Which one do you like better?
I guess terror.
I'm gonna say horror. I like horror better than
Alright.
terror. Cause I don't like being. As much as I love horror, and I love horror, I don't love being scared all the time. But I do love macabre things all the time. Skulls, Satan, sorority sisters or camp counselors.
Ooh, I'm going camp counselors. Kind of sorority sisters without the weird rituals. Sororities have weird rituals.
They do indeed.
Camp counselors.
I'm gonna go sorority sisters. Is Frankenstein a zombie?
It's a good question.
The Frankenstein monster, I should
Yeah.
clarify.
I-
Frankenstein
I'm not a big
was a
fan.
man.
Calm down, nerds.
I don't think he is a zombie.
Interesting.
I think he's a scientific creation.
I was gonna rapid fire. I would say yes.
I'm gonna also say he is. Is Jesus a zombie?
Oh, totally. He came
Yep.
back from the dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. When you come back from the dead, that makes you a zombie. Halloween Horror Nights or Not Scary Farm?
Halloween Horror Nights.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Horror.
Makeup.
Yeah, Horror Nights. Come on. Not Scary Farm? Get out of here. Haunted Hayride. Yes or no?
Yeah, like haunted hay rides.
No, I'm not going. But I encourage everyone else to go.
I would go. Haunted house. What's better, Victorian castle or spaceship?
Victorian castle.
Victorian castle.
I'm going to say spaceship, but I do like a good Victorian castle.
All the spaceship ones are so junky.
They are pretty
castles,
junky.
They got all kinds of rooms and stuff, and they're cool.
In my heart, I believe that there is a good version of Event Horizon out there somewhere on a work tape.
Paul W.S. Anderson's
Maybe that's
lost
somewhere.
masterpiece.
Yeah, his lost masterpiece. Maybe that somewhere is only my heart, but
Did you see Pandorum?
no.
That's basically what you're looking for, I think.
We're gonna revisit this. Psychological horror or jump scares?
Psychological.
Psychological.
Sticks with you longer.
I don't really care. I'm with both. I'm down for whatever,
But
guys.
if you can get one good jump scare in a psychological horror, you're doing good work.
See the monster or only implied?
I say we should see it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what they're going for in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can justify both.
You can justify both. I agree with that. Normally, you want it implied and you see it later. But as a horror fan, I want to see the monster. Because that's what I came to see. The monster. Big name actors or unknowns?
I think unknowns really make their bones in horror movies, so I'm going with unknowns.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we're all in that. Julie Harris or Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Catherine Zeta-Jones. Come on.
Yeah, Catherine.
Yeah, we'll go We'll go all of us together, Catherine.
What's she up to these days? I feel like I haven't seen her in so long.
Hanging out. Book or movie?
I mean, movie, jeez.
Yeah.
why are we here if not movies?
Movie. I love movies.
Yeah, movie. Sorry, books, but it's a movie podcast. Hill House or Hell House?
I like Hell House better.
Don't know.
I'm gonna say Hill House, because Hell House is a little too literal.
I like Whole House. I want Whole House. I want my submarine
Nice
horror.
callback.
Stephen King, yes or no?
No. You know, I've never liked anything he's written.
Yes.
I'm gonna say no, because I also have never liked anything he's written.
I've tried.
What's good?
Carrie?
I've never read
Didn't
Carrie.
really care.
I read Salem's Lot. I was like, it's okay.
Didn't like The Shining. Didn't like
Rose Red?
The
Green
Dark
Mile?
Tower. Shawshank Redemption's good.
The
That
Stand?
short story. Didn't like The Stand.
The Mist?
Too long. Didn't like it.
Wow.
Well,
Don't like
alright.
his style.
We're gonna have to table this. In the meantime, we're gonna wrap this first half up with what this movie. If you're not familiar, you say if you like it, you love it, you hate it, you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it, you want to see it, or whatever you want to say. Theme: haunted house movies. Here we go. The Shining.
Yes. Great.
Love it.
Favorite movie: The Changeling.
Oh, yeah. That was a cool movie. I liked it.
I want to see it. You're talking not the Angelina Jolie one.
No.
All right. Yes, I've been wanting to see it.
Yeah, saw it, love it, it's great, love it.
We saw it with the director in person.
At the Cine Family,
Listen to Family.
and that was
Peter
fun.
Medak.
He was very impressed with the audience.
He was a cool dude.
Alien.
I mean, seminal. Great. Fantastic. Love it.
Love it.
Love it. Paranormal Activity. Just the first one.
Didn't like it.
Absolutely thought it was brilliant.
I also was scared shitless by this movie. Found footage really scares me. I don't know why. Something about it.
You gonna go see The Visit?
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't buy an apple from M. Night Shyamalan.
I would not buy an apple from M. Night Shyamalan either. This is the sound of a handshake.
Handshake.
Poltergeist, 1980s version.
Haven't seen it.
Absolutely love it.
Haven't seen it either. Shame on us.
Shame.
Poltergeist 2010's version.
Mildly amusing, but not very good.
I'm not going to bother.
Saw it, did not like it.
Also, that clown got top billing on all the advertising for it. I think
It was in the movie
that
for
was in the movie-
literally one scene.
a grand total of 10 seconds.
But that was a good scene, though. That was the best scene in the whole movie.
Easily.
Yeah. The Amityville Horror.
Never saw it.
I like it.
I read the book. I like the book a lot. I don't think I've ever seen that movie all the way through. I think it's, one of my classic USAs where I watched, like, the first half, and then 3 years later I watched the second half, and then I watched, like, the middle part right after that sometime. And
Yeah.
it was like, I guess I like all of those pieces.
It's a little boring.
Is it?
Yeah.
House on Haunted Hill.
The Vincent Price version or the 90s remake? Because I haven't seen either one.
I was going to say 90s remake, but that's fine.
90s remake, I really liked it, but I watched it when I was in high school.
Is it? I can't. I'm getting that one confused with 13 Ghosts. I think.
No, this one has Taye Diggs.
Oh, Taye Diggs.
Taye Diggs was in the remake.
And who else? Jorge Romano. What's that guy's name?
Chris Kattan.
Chris Kattan.
That's
Holy
right.
shit.
And our new Vincent Price. What is his name?
The new Vincent Price.
Yeah, he's in the Pirates movies.
Johnny Depp.
No, the old guy.
The old guy. Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
he does a great and Famke. They're all in it.
Oh, Famke Jensen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet Famke Jensen.
Great, like creepy moments. You know, like when you hold up a recording camera and you see people, and then when you take
Put
it
it down and
like,
there's no one there.
nobody's
The ghost.
Yeah.
Love it.
The Conjuring.
Never saw it.
I liked it a lot.
Never saw it either. Insidious.
Never saw it.
It was cute.
I loved it. I thought that was
It
great.
was cute.
Yeah, it's cute. I like the spookies.
Okay.
The main bad guy is a little bit Bobo when they finally reveal him. It's a little bit like
Darth
a little
Maul.
Darth Maul. But leading up to that, it was great. The Grudge.
Didn't care for either one. Personally.
I've seen
Didn't care for it.
every single one, including the TV movies.
Ooh.
All good.
Oh,
Same
interesting.
family too. Same actors.
Oh, really?
So it keeps the same like narrative.
This is this whole The Ring, The Grudge was a very dark time in my watching horror movies life where I was not watching very many. So I've never seen it. Sad to say. The Innkeepers.
I haven't seen it.
What?
But you're the one who keeps telling me I gotta watch it. So
I'm going to jump ahead of Crystal and say, it's good. You got to watch it.
I know.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's great. House of the Devil.
Same thing. You told me I gotta watch it, and I haven't seen it yet.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
Your boy Ty West did.
Ty West doing both. Real slow burns. He doesn't like that about. He doesn't like when people say that about him. It's true, Ty. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's some slow burns,
Totally true.
but worth it though. The Orphanage.
It's a good little horror movie. Liked it.
Top 5 favorite movies.
Whoa, yeah, it's great. Session number 9 or
Yep.
Session 9? I don't know if
Session
it's.
nine.
Yeah, Session 9. Have not seen it.
I liked it a lot.
I kind of got bored. It was on Netflix at one time, and I kind of was like, I'm waiting for the spookies. And then when you fast forward a slow movie like that, it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was into it because I was so into Silent Hill.
Yeah, and then they took that. They took the. There's a scene where the guy's walking down a hallway, and you hear like a squeak, and then it's just a super long shot, and at the end of the hallway, it's a wheelchair that fell over, and it's just the wheels spinning, and then it stops spinning, and that's the whole scene.
It's just creepy stuff.
It's so creepy. Evil Dead, original,
Good. Like it.
Love it.
love it. Evil Dead 2,
Like it.
Love it even more.
love it. Evil Dead remake, 2010's version.
Have not seen it.
It's alright.
I like it. I thought it was good. A lot of hatred on that movie, unjustified. Sinister,
I didn't see it.
I liked it.
didn't see it. Sad to say.
Good sound design.
Good sound design.
Yeah, it'll terrify you.
Critical in a horror movie, good sound design.
Mm-hmm.
And that director in line for Doctor Strange.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Scott Derrickson is his name.
Woman in Black.
Never saw it.
It's okay.
I liked it a lot. I thought that was a good use of Harry Potter. Event Horizon.
I do like that movie, actually. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I think it's a fairly well-made horror movie.
In retrospect, I think it was better than what I gave it. I had this chip on my shoulder about it being an Aliens ripoff for a while. But I mean, it's got good stuff.
I think my view of it is different than what is actually there. I think I'm assuming a lot of things and then like kind of ignoring the parts that aren't good. So I do love that movie, but like, it is flawed. The Others.
Overrated.
Oh, I love it.
Never seen it. Interesting. An interesting mix here. The Innocents?
I haven't even heard of that.
I had not heard about it either, other than researching this episode. So.
Well, I have
It's
not.
a 60s movie. There's a Criterion edition out. It's basically the reason why The Others was made. Others is a little bit of a remake of it, but it is one of the most gorgeous ghost stories I've ever seen.
Cool.
Wrapping this up, Burnt Offerings?
What?
Yes, it terrified me.
I've never seen it. Never even heard of it.
Oh, is that a movie? I
It
had
is.
no idea.
And then last but not least, 1408.
Never saw it.
Liked it a lot.
Never saw it either. All right, so a lot of holes in our game there, except for Crystal, who's seen it all.
Yeah. Her specialty.
It's my specialty.
What? Before we get into this, what was your as growing up? Were you watching a lot as a kid, or what was your?
I was, because my mom would bring home these movies like Burnt Offerings, and it would terrify me, and then slowly I'd be more and more interested in it.
So your mom's a horror fan too.
I don't know, because she acts like she's just horrified by this stuff, and at the same time,
But
she
she's
keep bringing them.
Yeah, so she's getting them from Blockbuster, or where's she getting them from?
Yeah, like Blockbuster, or we turn it on USA, or you know, whatever. She's just like, oh, you know, we should just keep it on and, you know, hide in the dark and pop out at me. And I'm like, Mom, you really love this. Like, there's no question about it.
Interesting.
She likes to act like she has propriety, but
She doesn't.
I don't think so. I think she likes him just as much as I do.
Hey, we're all creatures. This is very interesting stuff. You know what I mean? Death and sex and fucking. There's always, I feel like with horror, there's always a stigma on it. Like, it's so unnatural. But it's like, isn't it not like the most natural thing where like people have victories or failures over death, which is like what we're all denying about our whole lives? Not to get like heavy right here, but.
It's true. Deep down inside, we are wild animals.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
One to learn on.
Let's get some old black and white horror going
Okay,
on.
we'll do it.
Get some spookies.
Here we go! And we're back.
We're back.
Just watched The Haunting, 1963, in my apartment, sitting on my lovely Chase Lounge couch.
It's very comfortable.
Watch it on Amazon Prime. I feel like this movie would have been more effective at night in a big theater that was half full, or maybe totally full, but probably better half full, as opposed to 2 p.m. on a sunny LA day with my boho blinds barely keeping the light out. That being said, does anyone want to summarize this movie?
So it opens with a lengthy preamble talking about the history of the house, how it was built for this rich aristocrat, Hugh Crane and his wife. His wife dies in an accident on the way there. He becomes a bitter old man, leaves his daughter there, he remarries. That wife dies by falling down the stairs. He leaves his daughter to go to London. He dies in London in a drowning accident. His daughter becomes a invalid mute, as they say in the movie.
Over the course of like 90 years.
Over the course of, long time. Then she's an old lady who has a live-in caretaker. The caretaker sneaks off to make love with or fool around, I believe they say, with one of the garden boys.
Yeah, she's not, this is like old-timey, you gotta be careful, you know what I mean? There's nothing to wrap it up with.
Exactly. They didn't have Doritos bags back then. And then she dies needing help from the caretaker, but it's not there. Fast forward, present day, we have a doctor, Dr. Markway, who is a psychologist, and he wants to go to that house because he's heard nothing about it but just it being haunted, and he wants to go there and try and find paranormal activity. So he hires 3 people. We have Theo, who is a potential lesbian, is implied in this movie.
And a psychic.
And psychic.
Potential lesbian, potential psychic.
And then we also have Eleanor, who is kind of our main character, becomes our main character. Woman who appears to be on some kind of hard times, living on her sister's couch, is a generally frumpy person, doesn't have a lot of friends, and kind of sees this as a can't-lose scenario of she's going to be part of this experiment and discover something. And then we also have the last guy whose his name I can't find right now, but he's kind of
Russ Tamblyn, who that's the actor's name, but his family owns the house, and they're making him come along on this. And his vested interest is that he's kind of he's not organized enough to actually have a vested interest, but he wants to sell the place and make a bunch of money so that he can presumably date exotic women? Question mark?
And keep those drinks in his hand, because he's got a drink in his hand just about every scene in this movie. So
yeah,
my kind of guy. So they all get to the house. They start going through many different experiments. They experience many different things. Parts of rooms that are cold where other parts aren't cold. Doors that keep coming off of hinges. Strange noises that nobody can explain. All throughout this, the rest of the film is just building of these incidences. Eleonora keeps going. We hear her thoughts, and she keeps going kind of crazier and descending further into madness. She kind of gets engulfed by the house and wants to become part of it. She tries to run away from the from her companions. They try to save her. She drives off into the night. She crashes into the same tree where Mrs. Kane dies, and she dies. And the house is still haunted.
And then the closing credits is as if she is a ghost.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite of the opening one, because the opening one begins with people saying things like, and if you think I didn't love these quotes, you're wrong. Things like, whatever walked there walked alone, and the dead are not quiet at Hill House. And she says, the dead are quiet at Hill House, and I think she does say we walk alone. Or we don't walk alone.
Yeah, we don't walk alone.
So it's a inverse of the beginning. Now that she is a part of it.
Big, ominous shot of the house, the end, fade out. As my brief synopsis of The Haunting.
So what did we think? First thought, this story takes place in a rural New England haunted house. New England, consistently nothing but trouble. Trouble in football, trouble in life. New England.
There it is. That's that West Coast bias we have on this podcast.
I am a California kid. California! There's gold in the street.
They came here, just so everybody knows. You came here. The Pioneers.
Yeah.
Save that for the Pioneer podcast.
Yeah, Pioneer podcast. This is the backdoor pilot to our Pioneer podcast. So what'd you think, Kev? You like this movie?
This movie feels very old Hollywood to me. And I think anybody who says, like, it's the scariest movie ever made is just being pretentious. I think. It's the same people who say The General is the funniest movie ever made. You know, it's very of its time. I think there's things that are outdated. I agree that I think it's more effective if we're in the dark, watching it on a very big screen, getting engulfed by it. But I just didn't really latch on to the story, nor was I ever really terrified by it. So, which even some older movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there are moments where I'm like in sheer terror, and this one just didn't really have much going for me.
Very
personally,
I would say it's a horror movie, and there is no terror in it.
Yeah,
but I'm jumping ahead. Crystal, what'd you think?
Yeah, I pretty much agree, and I'm a big fan of these haunted house movies. And
I feel
thought
vindicated
gorgeous.
that you agree with me.
No, it was
because you're
gorgeous.
the expert.
It was a gorgeous movie. I love the old Hollywood acting. Even though it's strange, I like the way things are framed. I love the way they were moving the camera so much. And when I think about them filming a movie back then, that camera was 3 million pounds.
Exactly.
And I just felt like the pacing was of another time. Right now, where like, I don't know if the excuse is that we're an ADD culture, or that we're way more efficient with our editing and our pacing. Whereas this is just, I mean, it builds a nice mood and everything, but they could have I would have cut out a lot.
Like what?
I mean, the scenes were like 15 minutes long or more. That
the ultimate kind of
staircase
don't
scene.
always go anywhere.
Yeah, that like the staircase scene. I didn't feel like that really was. They acted like it was the big final, like, showdown with the whatever the house is doing to her, and it really wasn't that exciting. And it just kept going and going and going.
And those stairs never fell down. Even though they're always showing like those screws really loose, but the stairs never fell. So.
Oh yeah, that scene was really long. I mean, that's supposed to be like the climax of the movie. You know what I mean? So they're trying to sell you on it, but I don't think it's ADD culture. I think times change, right? I mean, what was cool at one point is not what's cool now. It's just how, and then eventually nostalgia comes to be cool again, right? So there'll probably be a time in 20 years where movies get really fucking slow because everyone's tired of everything being really fucking fast, and then this movie will become cooler again.
But when I see Casablanca, I'm not bothered by the pacing.
Sure, that's a good point, though.
Maltese
You know what I
Falcon.
mean? There are some
Yeah.
things that are timeless, you know what I mean? Although I was a little bit underwhelmed by Maltese Falcon. We'll save that for something else.
Save that for the Bogey podcast.
I don't think it's the scariest movie ever made. I do think that that's kind of a bizarre claim to make, especially when. No,
who said that though?
Scorsese said that.
Scorsese said it's his favorite horror movie.
Yeah, and he put it on his top 11 scariest movies of all time list.
I probably scared him when he was a baby.
True. And if you're gonna continue.
I felt like if I was born in that era and I had seen a movie like that, whereas nothing else before it has been that intense, That would be pretty scary.
Right.
I can imagine.
Well, it's the 60s, right? So, I mean, yeah, there hasn't really been... There's been, like, Dracula and Frankenstein and things, but there's not really been... Like, we're pre-70s here, so horror movies are not super mean-spirited yet. So there's no gory yet, because that comes up with, like, Texas Chainsaw and Tom Savini and things, and the Gallo movement.
Well, Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby came out then.
Oh, that's true.
So it's already gone to off the gothic and into something else.
I feel like this whole time I was watching this movie, I was like, what would a filmmaker of like Ingmar Bergman's stance could have done with this story? I feel like Robert Weiss, he's a good director. People like working with him. He knows his way around a camera. But this kind of story, it's so psychological and is always in the character's head, I don't think he has the touch to pull it off. And I just think, what could have early Roman Polanski done?
Oh,
what could have Orson Welles have done with this story? And like tell the story through the angles and the lighting and all that instead of just constant voiceover.
Or Hitchcock.
What could have Hitchcock done?
Well, that's the thing is that some people criticize Psycho for the ending where they basically explain the whole movie. And I feel like Psycho doesn't explain anything, and then at the end kind of gives you this little quota to like, listen, in case you couldn't figure this shit out, here's what happened, right? And it's hard to judge it on that because our cultural knowledge of that movie is such that we already kind of know because it's such a culturally relevant thing. With this movie, I feel like all of the scariness is removed with that constant voiceover, right? Where it's like everything is just explained away, like, how did she take this last scene? Well, we'll just wait for her to explain it. Not well. You know what I mean?
And yeah, it's explaining what we've just watched 5 seconds beforehand and then just reiterating what it is. Like, the voiceover didn't reveal anything about Eleanor.
I feel like the remake had that character just the same. It was very close, actually, from what I remember. And that actress never had an inner monologue. You just saw it in her face.
Yep.
I mean, I wonder if there's an idea that, like, if they did that at the time, that people wouldn't understand what's going on. But putting it into context with Rosemary's Baby and Repulsion and all these other movies kind of negates that, right? Where it's like...
Yeah, people are more sophisticated at this time.
Yeah, it's like, you have to trust the audience or whatever. I think... Are you guys off-put by the voiceover? Because I wasn't off-put by that.
I felt like it just killed the narrative every time it was on.
So you didn't like it at all?
No.
I would rather they have Theo, guess what she's thinking, and then we just infer from her reactions.
Probably if us three were gonna make a movie like this, that's what we would have done. I'm not mad at this, and in a way, to me, okay, so I heard about this movie for the first time. I should have said this in the first half. Bravo used to do like these top 100 scary movies. Do you guys remember those?
Oh yeah.
Countdown shows?
Oh yeah.
I fucking love those shows.
Man, I remember when they did the AFI 100 Greatest Movies of All Time. I was glued to that.
Yeah. You're like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like,
I discovered a lot.
There's a piece of paper in my mom's house somewhere that has just 100 different movies written down on it in pen. You know what I mean?
You get to them all?
No, not even any of them. Because I folded that piece of paper and it disappeared behind the couch forever. But they talked about this movie and they talked about how it's the scariest movie of all time and how this is better than movies that show gore and show blood and show the monster and everything because this is more scary. And it's like, this is intrinsically less scary than that. It's a more enjoyable movie in the sense that if you don't like blood or gore, if you don't like those things, if you need an explanation, because nothing is not explained in this movie, I think there is an ambiguity to whether the house is really haunted or if she's just crazy or haunted herself or both, which we'll get to in a minute. But this movie really holds your hand through it in a way that I think I can see how someone could think that that's enjoyable. But it's definitely it's explaining everything. It's, there's never a moment where you don't know how this woman is doing.
It's just a ghost holding your hand.
Yeah. Real tight.
Really hard.
Which is my favorite scene.
Yeah, that was great. Also, how did she end up on the other side of the room?
I don't know. She's nuts.
That was kind of a silly reveal. She's not in the bed, she's on the couch across from the bed.
Well, what would have been awesome is if the bed was all the way on the other side of the room, too. So it's like her whole bed moved over. Then it's like, holy shit. But then having her on the couch, then it's like, well, what's really going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it tries to sell us on the idea that it's all in her head, but there's too much of the other people feeling it that it can't pin it down, Okay,
So I got this little passage is from Wikipedia. Credit to Wikipedia, whoever edited this. As Gilding crafted the screenplay, he came to believe the novel was not a ghost story at all, but rather a compilation of the insane thoughts of the lead character, Eleanor Vance. He theorized that Vance was having a nervous breakdown, envisioning a scenario which Hill House was a hospital where she is held. Mark Wade's her psychologist, the cold banging and the violence are the result of shock treatment, and the opening and closing doors reflect the opening and closing doors of hospital doors. Wise and Gilding traveled to Bellingham, Vermont to meet Shirley Jackson, who told them that was a great idea, but the novel was definitely not about that. It was about the supernatural. Nonetheless, elements of the insanity concept remained in the script, so the audience was left wondering whether the supernatural elements in the film were Eleanor's mind or whether they were real. I don't think they were all in Eleanor's mind, because when the door swells, and if someone else is hearing it...
Yeah, everybody else saw.
Right. And it'd be one thing if everyone was seeing different things and experiencing different things in their different rooms. That's one thing, right? Like, from our perspective in this movie, we don't know if there was a dog that was actually in the house that the two guys went outside to go look at.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's true or not. But every time something crazy happens, she's usually not alone. She's usually with someone else. So it's like, and they're both seeing the same thing. So everyone saw the door swell. Everyone heard the noises in the door jingle on its own and the heavy footsteps. So it's like, and then the wife corroborates that the house is haunted and she saw and heard things too. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, she's a mad pessimist too.
yeah, she's like, you're my husband. You're fucking wasting your life. We should be doing cooler shit. That's what she's really saying.
Yeah.
Like, let's like do some cool shit. You're like spending all your vacation days in these creepy houses.
She's like, the only thing haunting this house is the interior decorator.
Boom! I will say that there's a lot of good jokes.
These people are very catty.
It's super catty.
super catty, but especially Russ Tamblyn, man, he is just cracking.
Yep.
He is cracking. I want to be Russ Tamblyn.
It fits his character of like, dude, I'm just here to like make sure you people don't break anything so I can sell this at maximum.
What do you think? 25. They walk in the room. She smells her mother's sick room smell, and his only response to that is, "What do you think? I sell these books for 25 cents a piece."
Yep. And he's like, dude, I'm gonna turn this into a nightclub. Gonna put go-go dancers. Gonna put a bar here.
And then, and then the thing shakes and he just jumps off like a G.
Yep.
Russ Tamblyn is great in this movie, man.
Like a G.
He's just like, nope, I'm done. Ah!
Not messing around.
So, Kev didn't really like this movie.
No, all the psychological stuff could have been told in a much more efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I really liked it, very certain aspects of it, and I respect it in its time. But in this time, we've moved past that.
Yeah. You couldn't make this movie like this today. There's just no way.
You would get laughed at.
Right.
You'd be laughed off.
Because it's too much hand-holding. But I mean, there are some times where I felt kind of bored and tired. You know, like a lot of long shots that just, in our modern era, like I feel like this... You know, The Shining, I think, borrows from this movie a lot, where it's just like shots of nothing, quote unquote. But in The Shining, they're actually paying them off because they're showing you things that actually don't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Like in The Shining, you know, it'll be like they're passing a hallway, and then we go around the hallway, and we come back, and we see like a window. But it's like, we just saw the other side of that wall. It's a hallway. It's not a window. So it's like, this house is fucking haunted. Whereas in this movie, it seemed like we're just showing you these creepy stairs, and you're supposed to think they're creepy.
Exactly.
But there's not really... It's setting a mood for sure, but it's not really paying dividends.
And yeah, to do The Shining again, Kubrick has the wide angles to tell you that the terror can come from anywhere, and then he pays it off when the terror comes from the least expected place, i.e. Jack Nicholson with an axe, 2 Scatman Crothers.
No.
So, like, he just comes out in the last place you expect. And yeah, this is, I think they're showing off their set, which is a lovely set. It looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little gaudy, but that's the whole point, you know.
Right.
And yeah,
the haunting set is gaudy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, you weren't gonna disagree with me there.
No. I just got confused for it. I'm like The Shining is gaudy? Really?
No, Shining.
No. This totally makes sense now.
Yeah, The Haunting. Yeah, I feel like they use a lot of shots to show off the set. It's a very nice looking set. It's fits the tone, but again, no payoff of any kind. It's just a pretty set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a more modern take on it. You know, we were mentioning Women in Black.
Mm-hmm.
They had a beautiful set too, but there were some really good creepy moments that were legitimately creepy, even though they had a lavish set to show off.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're kind of talking about, you know, what's going, you know, compare, like, you know, this movie in 2015. You know, this is a ghost story. We talked about this before, how there's other ghost stories that are kind of coming up. I mean, like in terms of like something like The Conjuring, which I think has a level of explanation. Like these movies today with ghost stories, they have a level of explanation, but they kind of save it for one expositional scene that's been built up and built up and built up, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's going on? And someone's like, listen, you know, your fucking house is haunted, or whatever, right?
Or microfiche research.
Like in Sinister, not Sinister. What's the other one with the kids haunted?
Insidious.
It's like
It's hard to keep track of it.
it's so Insidious.
It's about astral projection.
Yeah, astral projection. Yeah, like, well, we figure out, like, oh, it's astral projection, it's not the house is haunted, it's your kid, but that's all built up to, and then it's like, okay, so scary things, crazy things, what's going on? You tiptoe through the windows, record players that are playing by themselves, kid facing a wall, and then, okay, now we get the ghost hunter lady in, and she gives us a little bit of information, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of this movie doesn't hold up in that way because they're giving you information constantly, you know what I mean? And it's
in the most inelegant way possible, the voiceover.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not them reading a book, it's not them having a conversation, it's just the really easy voiceover in the head, just holding our hand, telling us what's going on.
But then it's contrasted with really good visual storytelling at times, right? In when they first get to the house and they meet Theo, she meets Theo, and then they're like looking for how to, you know, they get lost in the house. Eleanor starts freaking out and she's like, they're coming after me or they're getting me or whatever, and then the light starts to fade from her as if someone's covering up whatever lamp is like illuminating her. So it's like she's being taken into the house. It's like, you know, she's being taken to the house, and then the door opens and then the lights come back on and it floods in from the doctor's room. Like, it's a cool visual storytelling kind of thing, you know what I mean?
It has those moments.
Yeah. And I mean, when Theo and Eleanor are getting quote unquote attacked by the heavy-footed monster or whatever it is, that is great, where they're watching the wall as to say, like, oh, it's coming up to the door, and you're like, oh, what's it gonna do? And then it goes past the door, and then it starts slowly walking back towards the door, and then it starts, you know, trying to get in, and then, you know, it's banging on the door, and then it starts trying to fiddle with the knob, and it's like, you know, sniffing the top of the door and the bottom of the door like some sort of demon dog, 10-foot tall demon dog.
Hey, if that's what it was, can I see it one time? Can I see the 10-foot tall demon dog?
That's what we talked about
once.
That's what we talked about in the beginning. As like horror fans, I think we're like, no, I want to see the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's just a woman in a black veil, or even if it's just a naked ghost, you know what I mean? That like, you know, It Follows, or just like a naked person walking slowly towards you. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see it. You know, I need to have it.
Like, it feels like if you do that, then you're out of ideas. Like, you can build all this tension, but you get no release when you don't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
What's your take on that, Crystal?
Yeah, totally. The remake. I think I'm gonna revisit the remake because I have a theory that they modernized it the way we would. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And people were pissed because it wasn't like truly the original. Mm-hmm. But
well, that was in the glut of '90s horror movies too.
Sure.
A lot of slashers, there wasn't much room for supernatural horror in that 90s.
And there was the supernatural horror. There was like The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting, and then 13 Ghosts, and there was like a bunch of randos, and they all had really bad Gap clothes in them.
Yep. Lots of bangs.
Also, I will say the clothes in this movie were pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
These people look sharp.
Theo's mod look, man. She's looking good.
I'm more of a fan, I agree with you, but I'm more of a fan of the doctor who is like, no matter what's going on, breakfast, just reading a book, about to go to sleep, slacks, button-up shirt, tie, tweed jacket, and then what we presume to be a sweater vest, but maybe a full vest. A full sweater. And it's like, shit, dude, you're just reading a book.
Yep.
Like, what?
He was always looking sharp.
No house slippers for this guy. He's like...
He's the nattiest.
He's like, I might have to throw a formal dinner at any minute, and I'm ready.
He was very Gregory Peck.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
His wife was looking good, too.
She was a hottie.
The height of fashion in that family. And then you got Eleanor, who's kind of frumpy.
Yeah, that hair was pretty bobo.
Oh boy.
Did you like her nightgown with another nightgown around that nightgown?
I did not.
The crazy cat lady starter kit.
Because she took it off, and I'm like, that's the same nightgown. Yeah. What is going on?
She's just doubling it up.
I have an issue with how long her hair is when it's down.
Yeah.
It didn't look that long when she had it up.
Yeah.
Well, it was in that unsightly bun.
wasn't that big.
Not that big though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a lot of hair, like-
Are you accusing this movie of being a real wiggy movie?
It might be a little bit
boy.
wiggish.
Wiggy.
Her bangs also made me sad. So getting back to the not showing something by going to implication. I mean, I do feel like probably someone who hates horror movies would have really liked this movie because you don't get to see anything. And I think the door bending was really a cool effect.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it does feel like it's an effect for no payoff. Like,
To me, it just looks like a rubber door.
I would even go as far as to say, like, I don't think this is a horror movie. I think it's like a psychological drama where just a woman just loses her mind.
Yeah.
And
Which, in that case, get John Cassavetes on the phone. He could have made it something cool. The man known for psychological dramas. Damn it.
Or Polanski.
Or Roman
I
Polanski.
mean, he did it.
He did.
well, he at least gave us some devil eyes.
already.
Have you guys seen Repulsion?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Man,
a
it's
great
the
movie.
same thing going on, and it's just this woman alone in her house, and it's terrifying.
That's right. You write Repulsion on your list.
Writing
You-
Repulsion
you watch
on my list. And in Rosemary's Baby, I mean, like, you know, there's a mystery in there. The thing is that I think that this movie doesn't have a mystery, right? It's like,
Yeah, everyone knows that it's haunted.
yeah, it's haunted.
Well,
like, it is
and-
haunted. Like, there's no doubt that it's ever haunted. You know what I mean?
And I think we're supposed to be shocked when she goes crazy, Eleanor, but she always seems kind of crazy in the movie. It's not like she starts out really normal and descends into madness. She's always kind of this weird, frumpy, strange woman, and she just gets weirder, frumpier, and strangier, you know.
Frumpier, stranger.
Stranger.
Well, speaking of her being crazy, do you think that she is crazy? Okay, so the implication is that she's taking care of her invalid mother. She probably didn't have a great, in my reading into this situation, it feels like she didn't have a great life. Her childhood probably sucked in terms of overbearing parents and religious upbringing. And then her mom is like an invalid for 11 years and she's taking care of her. And then one day, the only time she ever did come to her, so she says, is the time that she dies. You know, she's not going to, which is very reminiscent of the story of how the woman who used to own the house died, right?
Yeah.
She was knocking and knocking and knocking, and then the other person who is, you know, flirting with the, giving a little handy to the,
Yeah.
the horse guy.
Handy to the horse guy.
Handy the horse guy. Gotta keep
Yeah,
those
same.
simple boys happy.
Yeah.
No,
I
that
mean,
was thematically the same on purpose. I felt she felt more connection to that girl probably because of that.
But to an end? Was there an actual, like, those things match up, but like, what's the payoff there?
The payoff is she feels like she belongs maybe in the house. Like she was like dancing around that statue, like
And I get,
welcome me.
doing the Julie Andrews and Sound of Music dance.
whoa.
Spinning around in circles.
But she also, the woman who took care of the sick infirm lady in the house eventually eventually hangs herself from the library staircase, and she tries to jump off the library staircase. So there's an interesting parallel there in a way, but like again, like
So yeah, the house just makes you kill yourself in the way that other people have killed themselves in the house.
which has not happened ever before.
Which has not happened ever before.
I think they're just collecting more souls, maybe.
Right.
Or those people have a connection to the house and they feel like maybe that's the way they should go.
And do you think that there was because she definitely had a crush on that doctor?
Totes.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with it? It seems to be a movie about like women's sexuality in a certain way, like
It kind of wants to be, but won't let it go unhinged.
right.
It's like Lisa's libido in her brain, just in a cage with chains on it. You know, it doesn't want to go anywhere.
Because then they're reading that storybook. Russ Tamlin's reading that storybook that the dad gave to the daughter, which is about like how terrible lust is. And they're like, this is like basically like a picture book, but it's like full of like demonic imagery.
Yeah.
So is she, and then Theo may or may not, but is a lesbian. So is she like, is there an implication there that she is of some sort of perceived deviant sexuality? Like she's either bisexual or just attracted to this doctor, and then causing her a lot of guilt?
I don't know. I feel like it's the first time anything's ever happened to her, which she repeats constantly.
Right.
And she's just the first, like, charming man she meets. I mean,
Yeah.
It's real easy
And he's
to-
real charming.
he's very charming. I get it.
Saw that corduroy jacket and was like,
Yeah.
Need that.
Patches on the elbow.
That
Love
debonair
it.
mustache. Oh, and back to the book. Those drawings were awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Awful in that they were obscene or not well done.
Not well done.
Yeah, they were almost comical in how, like, over the top they were.
It's
Well,
like the
like
dad drew them. Like,
I
look at
do.
my
Yeah.
sketches.
It's like a skeleton biting a woman on the shoulder or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, this is what
And
boobs
she
look
has
like.
super huge eyes, and she's like, ah! And it all. You gotta tone it down just a bit to make me buy that this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Do you think the doctor had a crush on her?
I hope not.
I don't think so,
I don't
but I
think
think
he
he
did.
knew that she had a crush on him.
Well, there's two reasons why I would imply that. I agree that he probably did know, but there's two things why I imply that he might have. Because one, when the wife comes, she's like, "Didn't he tell you that he was married?" And it's like, we all just drop that immediately. Like, no one wants to comment on the fact that like he didn't mention that he was married. And then two, when she gets really upset at Theo and then runs away, Eleanor does. He says, "You better go after her, Theo." And then Theo says, "Wouldn't you rather?" And he's like, "Don't be smart." And then he like kind of shoves her out the door.
That's a good point.
It's like, and Theo is. I mean, we agree that Theo is psychic, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because she says stuff that she has no ability to know. And that, I also think that that's handled really well. And it's interesting that Eleanor doesn't really pick up on that. Like, she's not ever like, you're psychic. No one ever says, "Hey, how come you always comment on things that you have no way of knowing?"
It's true,
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of something, it's a revelation in single scenes, and then is never like.
Actually spoken on. Because
Exactly.
if you were like, "Hey man, that thing that you just bought, yeah, I would be disappointed with it too," I'd be like, "I'm calling the police right now." Yeah.
And some they could have built up to.
Witch.
I
That
didn't
one.
tell you I wanted a new do. Get out of my head.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't think you killed your mother. Like, what?
And they could have built up to it more of like her doing little things, commenting on, "Yeah, you should have bought that tweed sweater instead of the corduroy one." Duh.
Well, they do.
And then build it up to bigger things.
Well,
like-
they did though. When she first meets her, she's like, "Oh, you should wear that new thing that you bought," and she's like, "How'd
That's
you
true.
know?" And it's like, "Oh, you wear your thoughts on your sleeve." You know what I mean? It's just like,
That's true.
and then eventually it's like the mom and stuff. And then, but the only time we ever see her do it to anyone else is when she's doing it. One to the doctor right here when it says, "Wouldn't you rather?" But that's very implied.
Yeah.
And the other time is when she's playing, whatever card game that is with Russ Tamblyn. And earlier we heard that Russ Tamblin's grandmother was like, "Yeah, he's a card shark," and she is totally fucking him card wise. And he's like, he's like, "You know every card that I have." You know what I mean? Like you're
Right,
He's
right.
like, I wouldn't want to call you. And she's like, "A cheat? How dare you? Pay me my money." So, but then again, that's never really come back to. It's just like she's psychic, and we're never going to talk about it.
Yeah, it
Also-
never pays off in the narrative.
Yeah, she never gets to use it
Yeah,
for ghostiness.
right. And the doctor's never like, "Hey, like you're psychic, so like that's proof of
Yeah.
phenomenon."
How do you feel this room? Which I remember in the remake, they use these people more. Where I think Catherine Zeta-Jones plays her.
Yeah.
And
Also named Theo. in that
yes,
movie.
and they go into a room and they're like, "What do you feel?" Not like, "Oh, just deal with it as you go and fill out these papers." Like,
Yeah.
are they getting paid? How did
I don't think anyone's getting paid.
What are
and
the specifics of this deal?
I don't think anyone's getting paid. Apparently, there's no photography of any kind to be done, and he's looking for proof that some sort of supernatural anything exists. But there's a supernatural woman that he's not even talking to. Or it's like, he's like, "I want to find a ghost." It's like, this lady can tell the future, or at least read your mind. You're not interested in that?
Yep.
Like, okay.
Well, it's like, having Meowth.
Mouth?
Yeah. If you're Team Rocket,
Oh, mouth, yes.
all you want is the greatest Pokemon, and
You have a talking cat that can
have
throw, that can literally make money
It
and throw
generates
it.
money.
Yeah.
You can be rich. And they do nothing with it.
Meowth. Criminally underrated, too. Do you think that, and we think that, and the implication was that Theo was gay. I mean, that was there.
It's pretty obvious. Yeah, when Eleanor is like, "Somebody needs to stay with me in my room," Theo, without missing a beat, is like, "Me, I'll do it."
No, I thought the doctor told her to do it.
the doctor did tell her to do it, but she's also just like, "Oh yeah, we'll have lots of fun, like
Yeah.
sisters."
Do you think that her and her girlfriend are in an open relationship, or is this like the 60s deviant version of like what gay people must be like.
I think it's 60s deviant.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think there was a cut scene that I read about previously that it was gonna have a scene where she had a breakup and there's lipstick writing on her apartment.
Oh, right,
that said,
right.
like, bye, girl, or whatever she said.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I read that too, where they didn't include that. So they're broken up.
It's complicated.
It's.
It's very complicated.
Do you think that Theo was trying to bed down our girl Nell?
I mean, she's gotta test the waters.
She just playfully like, but if you're serious, like I'm totally down,
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
Down. Mm-hmm. Just letting you know.
Like we'll sleep in the same bed. Won't we have fun? But seriously, if you want to have fun,
Yeah.
I know how to have fun.
Send out,
Take-
raise the flag and see if she salutes.
She wants to see if there's another nightgown underneath that second.
Yeah. Is
She's
there
got-
a third one?
She got 3 nightgowns going.
It's like a fucking magic trick.
I had a real problem with how the female characters interacted with each other too, because on one hand, like I felt like Theo did care about the safety of Nell, but then she would like sass her, and then Nell would just freak out and like scream ad hominem attacks into her face, you know, and then Theo would still be like, "Oh no, we're friends." Like
Yeah.
nobody acts like that.
Right.
I mean, everybody's sassing Nell from start to finish in this movie.
Well, I think Nell is. I think they're trying to make it like Nell is being bullied, and I think in a way that is not doesn't feel literally true, but maybe is more emotionally true. Like, it's literally true that her sister is bullying her, but then her sister's husband is like, "Hey, you know, I know that what you went through, and like, you know, blah blah blah." And then all of these people are bullying her, and it's like maybe they're not literally bullying her. Maybe just the way that because she's so insecure, that's how she feels about it. But the movie never really tips its hat to either way, you know. So it's either everyone is just a total dick at random times for no reason, or she's just super sensitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be because she turns on a dime too.
Yeah. From start to finish, she's just always like, you say one wrong word and she's gone.
Yeah,
you
she'll
know?
just scream at you
Like a crazy cat lady would.
with 3 nightgowns.
3 nights. And
Three.
super long hair.
1,
Super,
2, maybe 3. And super long.
super long wispy hair.
Yeah. I don't know why I think she's religious. I think like the long hair makes me think of like.
It's like a Mennonite. look.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Some Mormon-y kind of weirdness.
Yep.
Not
Well-
like modern Mormon. I'm talking about like the weird Mormons that have to wear the dresses and have like 10 wives.
Yep.
You know, that kind of Mormon.
Yeah, and she paints her nails and says "wicked," you know, like she's doing something that shouldn't be done.
And
Right.
it tickles.
Also, there's a funny line there, like, "Oh, I don't like whiskey. Like, this is brandy." Oh,
Yeah.
a lot of good lines in this
It's
movie.
like whiskey, but really sticky.
Do you think it's the wife's fault that she died, or was she gonna kill herself, or did the house kill her?
I think the house possessed her to kill herself, if that makes sense.
So
The house pushed her over the edge. She was already going to the edge, and the house gave her one last.
being in the house, or the fact that the house is haunted?
The house is haunted.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and it might have been a clever construct to get Nell, or they were just like, let's just get both. Why not? More ghosts the merrier. Maybe.
We can bang on walls together. We do that every Tuesday.
It's
Yeah.
very fun.
all the time. I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I can't deny that I think that the house is haunted. I think the house is haunted.
It is.
But at the same time, this woman is also deranged. So I think, yeah, it's a combination of both. Like, she makes that comment earlier on where she's like, I sleep on my left side. And he's like, why? It's like, because I hear that wears out the heart quicker. So it's like, ooh.
That's the dark.
It's dark. You want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
So she's
And then
already
she finally
going.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it seems like, yeah, in the world of this movie, it's like the house is haunted, and she is at a low point in her life, and those two things converge, and then at the end, right, the wheel is pulling left to right, and then she just gives up, and then...
There's a
car
really
crashes.
quick shot before she crashes. The ghost of the woman is in the background, like really fast.
In the front of the car, that was the wife.
No, when she's gonna crash into the tree, behind the tree is the woman who died.
No,
that was
that's
his
the
wife.
wife.
Oh, is that the wife?
In her
Oh, okay.
nightgown, like, where am I?
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
And it's all good.
There were nightgowns. Who knows who?
There's a lot of
nightgown was.
nightgowns in
in
this
that
movie.
in that last scene there's a lot that gets explained where it's like the wife, like Russ Tamblyn blames the wife. Oh no, Theo blames the wife. Russ Tamblyn says no, she wanted to kill herself anyways. And then they're like, goddamn this house.
Yep.
Do you think the black and white nature of the photography makes it better? Makes it scarier? Does it set a mood?
I think it sets the right tone for it. It's very... Because this is an age, 1963, they could have shot in color. They're obviously consciously shooting in black and white. So it's... I think it is a stylistic choice, and I think it does work for this. I don't think this movie would have worked in color, personally.
Yeah, I agree. It was perfect for the shadow play, for all the light to dark, drawing your eye in exactly where it wanted to, and I think it worked.
Yeah, I think it really worked where everything, is shadows and creepiness and stuff. I think that, there's like one point he's like, this is the purple room, and we're like, oh, it looks great to me. But it would have been a different movie if it was in color. It probably wouldn't have had that same menace. You'd have to... Because, with black and white, you could light a whole room and it still has a menace to it. Whereas, like, if it's color, then you gotta kind of spotlight it up.
Yeah, you gotta pick the right colors to tell your story. And that movie, with all the gaudy furniture, it could have been an absolute hodgepodge of color and would have just been visually very confusing.
Right. Well, I can see how someone can make a movie like that. They can make, take a Victorian-style house or whatever that is and then fill it full of shit and... use that chaos of just colors and shapes to make something horrific. I can see that, but I don't think that's this movie.
No, definitely not this one.
But I would like to see that movie.
It'd have to be very carefully selected craziness. It can't just be a jumble.
Yeah.
This movie's a little out of time, I think, in terms of out of its era. Maybe it scared all the housewives in the 60s, but just in this day and age, it's not enough.
No, are you implying that those housewives are ditching their housewife duties to go see this movie at mid-time?
They might. At the one day they get a break.
Yeah.
You never know.
So we can start with nitpicks here. No time on the clock. Just shout them out. I'll let you guys bring them up. First nitpick that I have, there's the text written in chalk. They taste the chalk, which first of all, gross. Weird. And then no one needs to take any photos of this. No one needs to... take a little dusting of the chalk. Maybe we'll check the house and see if there's even any chalk in this motherfucker. Instead, we'll just wipe it off the walls and go have some brunch. Huh? What?
Yep.
Ghost hunters. Where's your EVP material? I want to see it.
Music was weird throughout the whole thing. Just didn't... way overbearing, just like the voiceover. Just overbearing. Again, always... music was holding your hand, too. Always telling you, this is scary! And it's, gets old fast.
Yeah, I remember in particular the reveal that Theo kind of knows that she feels guilty about her mother's death. And then there's just, a big sting of music. And I'm like, that would have happened now just with a look in her eye. And maybe even a soft musical cue. But nothing like a, and that was just, too much. It was too much. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon almost.
Looney Tunes.
A little Looney Tunesy. Lots of wigs.
Oh, man.
From too much to not enough. When the monster or whatever is banging on things, all they use is sound and nothing ever moves. And I didn't like that. When they bang on the door, you should see the door move. And maybe some dust fall off of it. Or when they bang on a wall, maybe see the wall move, but it was always just static shots of the wall with some banging on it, and it's just not visually interesting. So.
On that note, there was never any build-up, right? So you could have had just the noise and no function, and then later, the door scratched, or later, whatever. And it's almost not weird enough. Maybe the door scratched, and then later the door is healed, and maybe it's in terms of the house being alive, they never really stretched the boundaries of that. Maybe that wasn't their intention, but they never try.
They sure say it a lot. This house is alive, but
but it's not doing anything alive other than the doors closing on its own.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there was those little cold spots that weren't. He's just I bet you couldn't read this on a thermometer. Do you not have one?
Yeah, you're very.
It's in the Great Depression. We got thermometers.
And it's also I guess if you're doing a ghost hunting and you're writing down all your notes, shouldn't you say hey, everyone felt very cold, and then when we busted out the thermometer didn't change evidence. Instead, it's we'll just leave it to hearsay.
Yeah. And I wish that Russ Tamblyn would have put his beer down in the middle and just let it chill a little bit.
Yep.
Take it back out and drink it.
I would appreciate him for that.
And I love how the doctor's just like, oh no, we mustn't open this room till later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what's that for?
Yeah.
Just open it.
Well, and then I guess later it was the reveal that it was already open by itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they could have opened it right
But that,
then.
yeah.
Seen whatever.
I do like that reveal shot where it's like, these doors are open! Fuck! You know what I mean? Not that they ever... Yeah, I do like that shot of just like all of their reactions just being like, and then the wife's like, fuck you nerds.
I think the wife was me. I think it was. She had the same attitude as me. It's like, you fucking people, god damn it.
Just like you end up in your nightgown at night, running around the woods.
Yep. Sleeping in rooms where people died.
So, we did our nitpicks. Now time, moment of awesome. Great comedy, Russ Tamblyn, killing it.
Doing good. I did like in the cold scenes the way some people had breath when they were in the cold spot. The other people talking don't have breath. That was cool.
I did like that too. And I'm like, how do they accomplish this in 1960?
Exactly. How they do it. But cool.
I really did like the scene where she wakes up on the other side of the room and it turns out that there was a ghost holding her hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most genuinely creepy moment of the film, I think.
Yeah. But it could have just been, what the, who, and then we just cut away. And we all know what happened. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought that the other woman wasn't even going to be in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she would have been like, oh, she just came back in from like brushing her teeth, like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been equally effective. Like, you didn't see, you didn't hear, you know.
I love all the great lines. Too many to name here, but some of my favorites are, whatever walked there walked alone, the dead are not quiet at Hill House, and I live in mortal fear of the dark. He just flips the light switch after they can't find it.
Yeah.
And then when he runs into the coat, he's like, no, which door is it? And she's like, this one. And he's like, no, I've been studying the layout. It's this one, and it's a broom closet. He's like, well, that settles it. One of you is a witch. The doctor in the beginning is just fucking hilarious.
He's got one-liners for days.
He's just like...
He's a regular Don Rickles. Just throwing them out there. That's all I got for cool stuff.
I liked the groundskeeper's wife a lot.
she was just like, I don't... Fuck you guys.
And the groundskeeper, too. So cantankerous.
He's really cantankerous, but I feel like she's just, like, hired only for her ability to sell that this house is haunted.
Yeah.
I don't stay after dark.
Yeah.
You gotta listen.
No one will come. I'll go back to the city. No one will come past the city. Not after dark. It's
No one will hear you.
It's like, oh my god.
All right, lady, we get it.
Yeah.
And they're like having their own conversations. Like, we get it.
She's trying to like talk over them about like the fucking food schedules. Like they don't care. Although her food team, she did go all. They make a comment. She goes all out. She did go all out. Salmon, the whole salmon cooked, like coffee and all that stuff. A bunch of things.
Yeah. No thanks. No thank yous for her.
No.
No tips.
Maybe that's why she's so grumpy.
I know I said this before, but Dr. John Marway, just his fucking outfits, man, they rocked.
It's looking sharp.
Looking
All
sharp
day.
all day.
Every girl crazy. Not a sharp dressed man.
Mm-hmm.
Even the lesbians.
Yeah, she appreciated that neat mustache. Does anyone have a crazy fan theory that they want to, at this point, put in? We have the crazy fan theory from the writer, which is that this is all a mental hospital, which I feel like there is no evidence to support in any kind of fashion at all.
Although it could have gone that way.
Yeah.
If you keep all the crazy stuff centralized to Eleanor, then you can really make that assumption.
I kind of feel like a crazy fan theory is either if you go one way or the other, right? We've seen evidence that the house is haunted and she's kind of losing her mind. And I guess if you just decide that she's just completely losing her mind or the house is just haunted. You know what I mean? Like, you could decide like the house is taking advantage of a woman who feels guilty about something, Silent Hill style. Also, if this movie called Silent Hills, it would be 1,000 times better than all current Silent Hill movies as of this recording.
True.
True that.
Maybe the house just hates women. I don't know.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point, because the house never really picks on dudes.
It kind of, it kills the wife first. It kills the second wife.
That's a really good observation.
That's a great observation,
It kills the mom in a way.
Which mom?
Not the mom. The Kane daughter.
Yeah.
Kills her in a way.
Right.
But by hiring a horny horseman.
Yeah. There's no other kind.
And then then it ultimately kills Eleanor, and it's like, is this house just a woman hater? Is it?
Maybe it reflects the attitudes of Mr. Crane. Crane,
Kane, I think.
Yeah,
So,
he
you know,
seemed like
Oh,
a
that's a good point.
maybe it's the old
with his lust books.
Yeah, maybe we figured that out. And
the
then,
old ways of like the 30s and 40s of like the men are the aristocrats, and then in the 60s you have the women's revolution coming around. Maybe that's, who knows.
yeah, and then the text at the top of the nursery reads, "Honor thy father and mother." You know, real guilt trip kind of thing going down here.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like thy father, and then a much smaller print.
Mother.
Yeah, and mom too.
Mom too. But
Somebody-
that bitch is dead, so fuck her.
Somebody added that later.
Yeah.
So that's actually, I like that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Any sequel pitches, guys? Sequel pitches.
I mean, I would tell everyone to watch Rose Red instead.
Mm-hmm.
I would have Theo have a crazy lesbian party there, and then if this house really does hate women that much, it tries to kill them off, but they burn the house down.
Oh, that's
Okay, so this is a modern day movie, right?
Yeah.
So you got some what's the girls? What, grad students, college graduates, just a bunch of friends.
Some upper class grad students.
It's like a breakfast at
There.
Tiffany's party.
Yeah.
But they're all lesbians.
All lesbians or
They're
But-
definitely all lesbians.
Definitely
lesbian-
all.
So like a lesbian sorority? What are we messing around with here?
Yeah, let's do, okay, lesbian sorority, or lesbian book club, perhaps. There's a lot of books in there.
There's
Interesting.
a lot of books, smelly books.
Smelling books, and then so they all go here, and then the house is just trying to kill them all,
Trying to get them one by
punishing
one.
them for being gay.
Yeah, and being
women.
women. So,
And the secret history of the house is that a staunch homophobe built it as a testament to his hatred towards women.
Yep.
Yep.
Which Mr. Kane, he was going through wives pretty quick there.
Maybe his
so-
wife was secretly a lesbian.
Maybe.
Left him for another woman, and he never forgave her.
Yeah.
But there were signs. There were signs.
But yeah, then they get revenge on the house, burn it to the ground,
Oh, I like
take
this
it
pitch.
apart stone by
Yeah.
stone.
I like this pitch. I like this pitch.
And
And we
they're in
see
the-
the monster. God damn it!
By the end, the final girls, because there's not just going to be one, there's going to be several.
Right.
Final girls are all just, their makeup smeared and they're down to their last nightgown. But their last layer, and then that's it. Fade out.
Well, that'd be a great joke.
The Haunting 2 Nightgown Massacre.
That'd be a great joke where some girl's wearing two nightgowns, she takes one off the other one, and she's like, I can't wait for this. I can't wait to see what's underneath this second nightgown.
It's the third nightgown. God
Yeah.
damn it.
I really like this pitch. We should talk about this after.
Gonna do
we're
a little
recording.
spec script.
I don't know, man. I think that's a really good. And then we call it The Haunting, but we call it anything we want. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was gonna make something up, but now I'm too busy thinking about this.
Yeah, I got your mind going, don't I?
It could be really good.
I guess my pitch for this would be, if I'm gonna do something different than yours, because I'm already stating that yours is better than mine for the record, would be this same movie again, more characters, right? So you got the doctor, you got the lesbian, you got the girl who's whatever set, you got the kid who's like the heir, and you got like maybe 3 or 4 more other people in the house, and then the movie's very physical. So the same kind of thing where there's like shots of the staircase and the rooms bulge, but we do a lot more bulging, and it's all practically done. Like Inception style, the room rotates on people. You know what I mean? Like they figure out that like, hey, come in here, like count steps with me. So they measure, the room is 22 feet on the inside, you measure on the outside, and it's like 20 feet. So it's like this room's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And they slowly start to figure out that the thing is haunted. You know what I mean? Like rooms, like there's like, in the way The Shining is, where there's like impossible routes.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff, but like it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna jump out this window, and then you tell me what happens. Like, and then jump out the window, and then they actually are outside. So it's just like, it's like the house is beyond like human perception, the way it bends like physics. You know what I mean? And then
Like an MC Escher painting coming
Yeah.
alive.
yeah. And then very physical as things get worse, and stuff starts flying, and people, like you're in a room and it tilts, and then you find yourself sliding down a staircase and all this kind of shit.
I think you just described Rose Red,
Is that what Rose Red is?
pretty much.
Well, this is a commercial for Rose Red.
I think I'm secretly sponsored by Rose Red.
All right.
So, succinctly, to end up here, as we approach the end, our time has come to a close. Do you like this movie, and does it work?
I don't hate this movie, but I don't like it, and I think it's just too dated and just doesn't work anymore. So no, it does not work.
I deeply respect it, but I probably wouldn't see it again. It worked then. It does not work now.
I think I enjoyed it for what it is. Like, I think I did find enjoyment out of it. I think it's shot really well, and I think it visually looks really good, and I think I could forgive it for being a quote-unquote old movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think because it's old, I can be like, well, yeah, they're over-explaining too many things, but it's fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? And now that you turned me on to this whole thing about the woman's sexuality, I think that makes it a much more interesting movie, a la Prometheus.
But somebody who's not Robert Wise, I think, really could have sold that story. Especially Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Or Ingmar Bergman.
Why not?
Yeah. Like, they could have really made that movie, you know? But, you know, Robert Wise is just kind of an old Hollywood dude. He's going to make a haunted house movie.
Oh, indeed.
With no monsters.
None.
God damn it.
The way that people love it, apparently. So that's it for this episode. Come back and join us on the next episode. Crystal, thank you for coming out.
Yes.
Been wanting to get you on the show for a while. I think it went well.
Yeah.
We appreciate guest stars and a female perspective.
Yeah, if there's one criticism of this show that I absolutely think is true, is that this show is very male in its composure, being me and Kev in our movie picks, which are all like The Warriors and all these movies that are super masculine. And so, I think bringing a female voice into it, I think really does help with some stuff. And we figured out some things that we wanted to figure out otherwise.
Yeah, agreed.
And thank you so much for having me.
Anytime.
I've been wanting to get on the podcast for a while, and there's a ghost here.
That's a
Yeah,
ghost.
ghost.
It's a ghost.
What do you want? What do you want?
I'm a lesbian.
Alright, that's what the ghost wanted. For you to admit that. Follow us on Twitter at Speaking Cinema. We are on Stitcher, iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. Any plugs, guys? Any plugs other than your podcast? We'll plug that.
Yeah.
And what's that YouTube channel called? Midnight Movie Madness?
Midnight Society.
Midnight Society. Why do I keep fucking this up?
I don't know.
Midnight Society. That's the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Check it out.
Kev, any plugs?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Listen to this podcast.
Listen to
scroll
Speaking
up,
Cinema.
Start with Starry Eyes and fucking listen to this shit.
Get on that Rango episode. Is something else.
Alright, see you next time.
Have a good one.
Alright, so we're recording. Ready?
Ready.
5, 4, 3, 2. I'm your host, the keeper of the house on Haunted Hill, a grounds name. Here today with me is a malevolent. Fuck. So, Crystal, just to introduce you to our audience of, thousands. I'm gonna totally edit that out. You may not believe in ghosts, but you cannot deny that. Fuck. Is Jesus a zombie?
Totally. Came back from the dead.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I fucked this up. Stop. Because I was going to do something. Stop. Edit point.